Hello, Glacier Gamers, and welcome to D&D Lore Bite-Sized
on Frozen Dice.
Here, we'll take a short dive into the different monsters, races, and other D&D related stuff. Today, we're once again diving deep into the pools of the Underdark to uncover yet another of its many fascinating secrets. And the aberration we caught today is an old, forgotten, insane, long-lost cousin of the Dwarf, the Derro.
As you and your party are trekking through the Underdark, looking for a new trade route that can make your master rich, you have all taken a break. You look around, trying to map out some corners of this fantastical landscape while your comrades rest. Doing this, you stumble upon something weird. In front of you stands a haggard and shabby humanoid, no taller than a small child. It has a blue-grey skin with pale hair and stares at you with eyes that are missing both irises and pupils.
Damn.
You feel a sort of pity as you look down at this scared and filthy creature.
You hear them before you see them. A hullabaloo of growling, howling, and cackling fills the air before you see several similar-looking creatures come rushing. You look at the one in front of you. Its demeanor has completely changed. From looking scared and afraid, it now has a horrible grin on its face, staring up at you with those uniformly pale eyes. It starts to laugh maniacally, spit foaming at its mouth as the little guy jumps towards you, wielding hooked spear in both hands, with its comrade rushing up behind it.
So, this demon child of Dwarf is found mostly in the Underdark, staying out of sight of bigger and badder creatures. One of the Derro's unique characteristics is also one of its coolest features. Their eyes lack both irises and pupils, as said, making them completely blank and glazed over. This sounds like a straight-up disadvantage, but in the Underdark, all is not what it seems. Having eyes like these makes the Derro able to see just fine in total darkness, as well as they can see the true ultraviolet spectrum, whatever that means.
What the fuck is that?
You know, you can see all the colors, not
all
just the regular colors.
Ah.
But yeah, there is a small hatch to have eyes like that. It makes the Derro into puke boys in the sunlight, which, you know, it's always dark. So keep in mind.
Sorry. As a species, the Derro is strange, sadistic, distrustful, cautious, clever, and stealthy. A good bunch of them were also batshit insane. Just listen to this. It was common for a Derro to devote themselves to some strange quest, such as collecting only certain types of gemstones, or slaying as many creatures of a particular species as possible. I meant members of a particular species as possible. And just to show you how common this trait was, one of the two notable Derros is a guy called Buppido, who is an insane killer who believed himself to be the incarnation of the Derro god Din-Karasan.
Yeah, that sounds batshit crazy. So, talking about gods, the Derros worshipped Din-Karasan and Dirinka, twin gods that were both banished and disowned by the Dwarven pantheon because they were said to be irredeemably evil, which is kind of crazy in the god world.
Yeah.
While this fact is true, it is also possible that the other gods in the Dwarven pantheon were jealous and fearful of the twin because of their magical powers.
Of the twins, though, Dirinka was the main god of the Derro. He was a god of magic, knowledge, and cruelty, and preferred to appear as a Derro-Lich hybrid. His symbol was that of a white, grey, and black spiral. So many good non-colors.
Yeah, all them good non-colors.
The best non-colors.
Din Karasan was a lost god, being once betrayed by his own twin brother when they ran from Ilsensin, the patron deity of Lithids. Din Karasan's symbol was that of a seven-gemmed ring.
Oh, just like...
Almost like this one. I only have none gems.
I have none rings. In Derro's creation myth, they were created when Dirinka stabbed his brother in the back and fled with the magic he had stolen, as Din Karasan was dragged off. This story is told in Derro society, though what evil the twins ran from varies depending on what the Derro savant wants to lead their clan against. Either way, the story teaches the Derro a lesson of survival at any price, and that in Derro's creation myth, they were created when Dirinka stabbed his brother in the back and fled with the magic he had stolen, as Din Karasan was dragged off. This story is told in Derro society, though what evil the twins ran from varies depending on what the Derro savants wants to lead their clan against. Either way, the story teaches the Derro a lesson of survival at any price, and that deceitfulness and cruelty can be virtuous.
Good stories.
And as I said, batshit insane.
Yeah, so Derros see their stronger than normal tendency to develop sorcerer's power, a manifestation and blessing of their god Dirinka.
Of course.
Yeah. Derros call their sorcerers savant, and these become leaders of their communities. We will come back to these a little bit later in the video.
But what do the other species think of the Derro? Well, the Duergar, which is another lost dwarven species, thinks that the Derro are a subgroup of dwarfs that was held even longer than themselves under the Mind Flayer's influence, which, from the Duergar's perspective, has made the Derro filled to the brim with madness.
Are there real-life counterparts to the Derro? Well,
I hope not.
sort of.
Damn it.
Derros do strike a resemblance to the stories told about dwarves in Nordic and Germanic folklore, as well as goblins, redcaps, brownies, and other underworld creatures from Scottish, English, and Irish folklore. But the Derro of Dungeons and Dragons are based on the creature Derros, so not just remove one of the R's, which yeah. That's sort of how you do it.
That's a trick.
Derros are a race of...
Derros,
sorry. Not Derros, but Derros are a race of malevolent dwarfs living in a caverns beneath Earth. Described in the issue of Amazing Stories of Richard Shaver.
So now that you know that, let's dive back into D&D and take a look at what variations and numbers Derro brings to the table.
A single Derro would not put up much of a fight against most creatures. But if you gang up on you get yourself a completely different ballgame, as
most creatures would.
Yeah, absolutely.
Luckily for us, there are 4 different variations of the Derro, and they can be gathered into 2 subgroups: melee fighters and magic users. The regular Derro and Derro Raider are melee fighters. Derro Apprentice and Derro Savants are, you guessed it,
magic users!
Magic users! Like me. All the Derros have a few traits in common, and these are...
magic resistance. This trait gives the Derro advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. Pretty good. And which is something I will get from the DM on all my characters and features. And sunlight sensitivity, also known as puke poison. This means that the Derro has a disadvantage on attack rolls as well as wisdom checks that rely on sight in sunlight.
Of course. Derro and Derro Raider are more or less the same. The regular Derro is more reliant on stealth and dexterity, while the Raider also focuses on strength. This makes the Raider a bit more of a pickle than the regular Derro, even though they both clock in on a challenge rating of 1/4. These melee fighters also vary slightly on what weapons they prefer. The raider prefers a throwing hammer instead of a light crossbow, which the regular Derro-Brom carries. But they both use a hooked spear.
And that hooked spear has a special feature, which is that if it targets a medium or smaller creature, the Derro can choose not to deal any damage, and instead the target will have to have the prone condition, which sounds not too good, but having the prone condition means that the targets must crawl or use half its movement to stand up, and by doing so, end the condition, of course. This does not work if target speed is a big fat 0, which is even bad.
Of course it's bad.
Yes. Attacks will also be affected while the prone condition is active, and the prone target will have disadvantage on attack rolls, and all those regular effects will happen on your prone creatures, where also attacks on the prone creature have advantage.
Another difference between these two is that it's stated that the Derro Raider is guided by hostility and greed, and that following these values is pleasing to their god, Dirinka. Anyways, let's get to the magic users. Fuck! It's you this time.
Yay! So, the Derro Savant... yeah, you kind of fucked up there. Derro Savant and Derro Apprentice differ more than the two others. And that is evident right off the bat, as the Derro Savant is a challenge rating of 3 and the Apprentice is just a challenge rating of 1. The Apprentice is stated to be Derros that have just begun to discover and control their magic, which makes their magic extra unpredictable and dangerous. This unpredictability is seen as the Apprentice can use Force Burst, which makes each creature within 10 feet of the Derro have to make a DC 11 strength saving throw. On a failed save, they will take 2d6 force damage and be prone, but if the roll is a success, they will just take half as much. The Derro Apprentice also can use Chaos Burst, which takes 3d6 damage, and you have to roll a d4 to determine if it's acid, cold, fire, or lightning.
Yeah, the Chaos Blast.
The Chaos Blast.
The Derro Savant uses Chromatic Beam, which is a 5-foot wide line of magical energy that is 60 feet long. If you are in this line, you have to make a DC 12 dexterity saving throw and take 6d6 damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. The Savant can also bonk you on the head with a quarterstaff.
Like a monk. Both of these Derros use Charisma as their spellcasting ability. Both Derros can cast Message and Prestidigitation at will.
I'm so glad you were the one to say that word, because I can't.
Yeah, I've been a sorcerer for a while, so Prestidigitation is like on your tip of the tongue.
Damn!
The Derro Savant can also use Mage Hand, and these... What? Okay. The Derro Savant can also use Mage Hand. These once a day cast ability is where Derros once again differ, as the Apprentice can only throw Charm Person, but the Derro Savant can throw Invisibility, Sleep, and Spider Climb.
Yeah.
But not Charm Person, though.
They can... I'm confused now. And I wrote this.
Mm-hmm. But you might wonder, Frozen Dice, how would you use these crazy-ass Derros in your game?
Well, we've not yet done a game with these local dwarfs, neither me or you. But I think it would be extremely fun if you made use of the Derros' crazy values. Maybe make a group of Derros that travel around looking for something unbelievably stupid, like only cursed items. This group will use plenty of tricks to get what they want, like kidnapping, blackmailing, and straight-up threats. Your adventurer group can either work for this group, have a cursed artifact that they want, or be hired to stop them.
Yeah.
It's up to you. But hey, do you have any ideas?
No, not really. I'm just kidding. Well, you actually can have some sort of wizard that know of a species of dwarves that have inhabited Underdark that has long been held captive by the lithids and want to investigate them. The wizard has hired your party to find these dwarves and bring them back. And these kind of things these kind of quests can give you a fun twist and moral dilemmas that puts your party at a little bit of an edge.
Yeah. So, there we have it. The weirdest and most insane variation of the dwarf in Dungeons & Dragons. It is truly a crime that they forgot to add them to the Monster Manual 2025. Because these insane lads needs a future.
So, if you like this video and want to watch more, please like and subscribe. There are links in the several playlists and descriptions, and feel free to drop a comment and tell me and us what we missed, or if you have any suggestions to what you want us to cover next.
Yeah. Check out the rest of the channel. We have a D&D actual play podcast set in our homebrew world of Norgar. And we have weekly D&D dad jokes.
So, thank you very much for watching, and stay rolling!
And may your dice forever be frozen.